Do 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 do. It's live code happy hour, but it's not actually live code happy hour. You're with Andrew and Mark's here too. Do 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 do. Hello. My name is Andrew Albury-Dor, or Andrew Barnes, or whatever you want to call it, because this is live code happy hour, but it isn't actually. And I'm with Chuck Tomasi.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on wherever you are.
Yeah, that's right. And you're not actually Chuck Tomasi either. You are Mark.
Yeah, Mark Rudolph
There we go. I
calling in.
struggle with your
It's
last
evening
name.
here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we are here because Andrew and Brad aren't, obviously. Do we have anything important to do? Not really. I've got some stuff that I'm going to play around with. You're here for running commentary. Um, People are watching. We've got at least Jason Brad. Hello. Yeah, what would they normally do? We would normally introduce ourselves, which we've sort of
Yeah,
done. I'm a ServiceNow developer. You are a ServiceNow developer. That's
yeah,
about all we need. Um, then we would
yeah.
introduce drinks, but
That's the most important thing, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 7:30 a.m. where I am. I've already had a lot of coffee because my kids woke me up like 3 hours ago. So I'm not going to be drinking coffee per se, and my water bottle is empty. So I'm probably not going to be drinking anything for the next hour. How about yourself, Mark?
Well, it's about 10:30 here, so it's getting a bit late. But
All right.
I've got my Aussie stubby holder with
Nice.
with
Yeah.
the Cooper's Pale Ale.
Oh,
And
jeez.
a few weeks ago, you said it's the cheap version, but actually, when I was in Monkey Maya, I had to pay like $39 for a case. So this is
Jeez.
not cheap.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For
Alcohol
anyone,
is expensive in Australia.
for anyone who hasn't caught the Between Two Functions podcast with Mark, it took me a long time to realize that pretty much everything about him, like his background, as you can see, is actually Australia. And he was wearing an Australian football jersey and drinking Australian beer. Like, it just took me too long. So I'm sorry. I am not Australian enough, and that's why. What did we say? We were calling you my mate. Was it Dazza?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent. So, let's talk about, I don't know, actually ServiceNow maybe. I'll kick into a share. Just bear with me a second. I will go over here. It's been a long time since I have done some streaming. This one share. Okay.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, great. All right, so as long as everyone on YouTube land can see that as well, because it's slightly different, we'll get going. So, today, what I was thinking of doing is,
Well, maybe to interrupt Andrew,
oh yeah,
like Andrew Barnes also always says, can you make the font a bit larger?
I have already. It's at 150%.
Oh, okay, yeah, because Andrew's eyes are maybe a bit, yeah,
I think it's
not
Chuck
that.
that's normally the problem.
Oh,
Um,
it's Chuck. Okay.
yeah, and he's not here, so we'll talk about him behind his back. He is always the problem. So, cause I think he throws it up on like a 75-inch TV, which I don't know. He's always like, oh, it's too small. Um, anyway, Mark Scott has said that it looks great, so I'm happy with that. All right, so at work we use agile development, which is pretty cool. Um, Anyone who hasn't used it before should. That's about the highest praise that I can give this. What I'm thinking of doing today is some of our team don't. It's not super easy to use the triage board. So if you haven't used it, the triage board is, what do they call it? A unified backlog experience. So you can take a ticket, like an incident, or hang on, you guys are seeing the wrong tab. nobody's looking at. Oh wait,
No, I'm seeing on YouTube the correct one. Now I'm seeing the yeah, it should be
yeah,
good.
okay. Sorry, Mark was seeing the wrong tab. Everyone else was seeing what I was doing. um, yeah, so the unified backlog lets you take a ticket, an incident, anything that you've set up, and create a story from that, which sort of relates. So let's jump into the incident list here. So any of these incidents, they are open and they do not have a story set in one of their related fields. I think it's Agile Story or something. That's the name of the related field. Then you can tick it and you go add to backlog, which is an out-of-the-box UI action, and that throws it into your backlog. Which when you pop over here, it's like, oh, yep, there it is. And it's got your little Pac-Man ghost, Blinky or Clyde or whatever their names are. And as you can see, it actually links the incident to the story. So you can have a look at the incident information, you can close it from there, or you can jump over to this tab and have a look at your story stuff, which is really, really cool. It's an amazing feature of the unified backlog, and it keeps all of your processes and people and stuff together, which is excellent.
Yeah.
But what my team has found is that I don't know if you'd say struggle, but what would make our lives a bit easier is having a UI action at any point when you're looking at a ticket and you go, crap, that needs to be in our backlog, right? So rather than jumping from your incident record over to your unified backlog, opening the triage board, finding the incident again, and then re-adding it, what we really want to do is just have a UI action available to say administrators or agile users that you can just click it and it goes, yep, no worries, added to your backlog. And it has the same functionality of having that link. So what I thought we'd do today is have a look at that and actually dig into the existing add to backlog UI action and see what we can do. So step one, let's make a local update set so that I can take that and give it to work when we're ready. So we'll call it, what are we doing? Add to backlog global UI action, something like that. Submit and make current. Ideally, this might be an app, but everything would ideally be an app, wouldn't it? If it's a UI action and it's just in a global update set, we can throw it up on share later if people are interested. All right, so let's go to UI actions and we'll have a look at the existing one. Have you used this before, Mark?
At some customers, yeah. It's it's simply amazing. I like this a lot, and yeah, it's, especially the triage part. You're not stuck only with the stories or whatever. You can just get in your incidents as well, etc.
Yep.
It's so
yeah. And the fact that it links them and separates the incidents from the awesome. So here is the existing one. Now I had a bit of a look at this yesterday. I did some homework, as you're not meant to do in live coding happy hour. And it's a lot of code. Like for what it does, it's like 85 lines of code. And I saw it, I was like, what is going on here? Why is there 85 lines of code for a UI action that adds something to your backlog? And I realized that 2/3 of it is actually because it's all list v3 stuff and checking to make sure that you've actually ticked a button and all this error handling. And I don't know if you've ever met me before, but I am too lazy for all that kind of jazz. So after reading and reading and reading, I realized that this Glide Ajax here is pretty much like all you need. It's those 5 lines. So it takes a list of records, and that's part of the unified backlog, is that you can actually pick 2 or 3 or 5 things and hit the button once. So that's what this UI action does. Then what table we're coming from and the backlog definition. So obviously you can have multiple backlogs and we want to add it to the right one. Now the way that it finds the backlog definition is interesting. That's another big part of this. The backlog definition, it is sort of, where are we? It's up here somewhere. It's a bit ridiculous. It's like here, yeah. Okay. So backlog definition ID, it's based on this pattern, which it uses regex to read the URL based on what you've come from. So this is the decode URI component top location ref, which, I mean, it works, I'm sure. It kind of feels a bit janky to me. And then if they can't find one, so this here, backlog definition ID equals result or result1, which is where it actually puts the pattern across the URL. If they can't find one, they've got this little OR here that says get preference com S&C agile board last selected backlog, which essentially is the last one that you have used. So I wonder if no, there's no user preference slash. Oh, come on, Arnud. Don't make me ask you for more stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen that for SN utils. No.
Yeah. He's been doing me some favors recently. I owe him a blog post about it. So user preferences. Am I going to be able to? Let's share. All right, so here's the user preferences. That's the name of the preference, and that is me. So the user preference of your last selected backlog does show up. Now, should we just use this rather than trying to do fancy things, or should we set a global, like a sysprop, or should we have a pop-up that says which backlog do you want to put it into? Because if we just used this, that would save so much time. I wonder what chat reckons. We'll have to wait for that to pop through to YouTube. I'm going to start by using this, I think. I reckon, like, ServiceNow are using it in the out-of-the-box stuff.
Yeah, and if we have time left, we can always upgrade it to, yeah, something more fancy.
Yeah. All right, let's do that then. So we've got the backlog definition ID. We're going to use that. Then what else did we have to pass in? The records, which is... Oh, wait. Sorry, mate. So records here is a glist function get checked. I haven't seen that before. That's neat. I'll have to keep that in the back of my mind. Do you know how that returns it? Is it just a list of comma-separated sys IDs? Are we going to have to look at...
Case. We should debug that one, I guess.
Yeah, all right. Let's have a look at...
Or maybe the developer side.
Yeah, we'll head over to the developer side.
Do we have a bell to ring the bell?
No, I don't have a bell. I can... That was my metal water bottle, but sort of...
Yeah, for every time that we mention the URL, so yeah.
Every time we have to go and look look something up. Jace has said get checked has returned a string separator values. YGS.log when you can search the documentation. Exactly, Mark. Where were we? Over here. What was the name? glist. It'll probably called something like glide list, won't it? Glide list. Get list ID, get, let's search by get checked. Nope, is it scoped? Nope. You know what? Let's yeah, let's go look somewhere else. Let's have a look at the definition of this Ajax and see what it is expecting. So records. So it uses a sysid in records, which I'm pretty sure is a comma separated list of sysids. Or, yeah. It's Andrew Barnes says it's client side silly. Yeah, that's a good point. I was looking in server. My bad.
Well, that's where we have the audience for, right?
Yeah, that's why we have audience engagement. So if the sysid is in a list, yeah, okay. And then a bunch of stuff happens that I really don't care about if I'm just going to be calling this from a UI action. Let's swap back to here. So we have, that's what we're doing. The sysid in a string and the current table name, and that's the preference that we had here. Get preference, that one. And no, I'm not going to save this. I'm not going to make a skipped record. Geez. So I'm going to copy that, and let's go make a new UI action. That one. All right. The peanut gallery is being quite helpful. There's lots of people with opinions in there, isn't there? Yeah. All right. So we should put it on task because that's what the other one is on.
Yeah.
And that should show on all task.
Yeah, start with the bracket as well.
Start with the bracket.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, there we go. Nice. We'll chuck it on order 10,000 because we don't want it to happen, and we will say add to backlog to my latest. And that way, it's actually called something that makes people think, oh, maybe I need to have a user preference for that. Now, I know that that doesn't work for people who aren't me, but for now, that that will do. And we want to have probably a form link. I think that's the most unobtrusive way to do it. Maybe a context. Yeah, nah, stick with the form link. All right. This will run client because it is an Ajax. And we need an action name. Let me pop this down here. I'll have a look at the existing one and see what they've done. So they've got add to backlog. On-click add records to backlog. There it is. They've got some
Yeah.
fancy show messages and some callback response stuff. I don't think we need too much of that.
We can add stuff like that later and
Yeah,
error
exactly.
handling if necessary, but
Yeah.
that's for later.
So
Let's first make a bit of success of this.
add record to backlog. Did that need a semicolon? No, it didn't. Okay.
No.
Nobody comment. I will get there. I will fix it. Calm down.
Yeah, there's a slide. The add records. There's an
Yeah.
S.
Good
Yeah.
call, because we're only doing one. All right. So that is there.
Maybe on the on click, the first letter is a capital.
Yeah. Wow. Glad I brought you along.
Well, I think the Cooper Spale is helping. So yeah.
Australian beer makes you think better. You heard it here first. Because I have not had much recently. All right. Now, they had that as well. Let's save this. Andrew Barnes has said, why did you choose it to name it the same? Why did I choose to name it the same? I mean, it's all relative, really, isn't it? I've put record rather than records, and I've actually added my latest up here. I feel like the action is not going to make too much difference. Let's go back over here. It's conditions. I'll need to think about that in a bit. Other than that, I reckon we should give it a go.
Yeah.
See what happens. Let's jump over here. Don't use the same action name unless you mean to override it. All right, all right. Add one to backlog. Save.
It might also conflict, I guess, if you
Yeah.
use the name.
Even though mine is only form and the other one is only list, but you know what? I won't argue with the master of probably knowing things. Let's go over here. Mark Scott said naming conventions out the window. Probably because I just put a number in. Like, well, you know, it deserved it. All right, add to my latest backlog. So we have the button. I've got the backlog there. I'm probably going to have to do a check to see if it is already in the backlog. How much do I care about that? Extra work. Is this one in the backlog? Let's 101149 go over here and
Because what would you like to do if it's already in the backlog? Just
probably
not show.
not show the button. Hey, yeah, that one is already in the backlog. Brad Tilton says, AJB, the master of probably knowing things. I mean, it's about right, isn't it? If you're going to be a master of something, probably knowing stuff is a good idea. Let's use this one, 10145. And we'll hit the button. We'll even have the console open just to see what happens. Add to my latest backlog. Uncaught reference error. Records is not defined. That's right. I actually need to get the data that I'm going to pass into Yeah, I've got all of these variables that I haven't. Oh man. Okay. Var records. I'm gonna get, you know what? Change the name of that as well. To record. Because there is but one. This is client. So does current work in client? Or is it G? Oh man. I haven't made client-side UI actions in ages. By that I mean I've just been on holidays for a couple of weeks and forgotten everything. They got it. How did they get it? How is it in over here? How did they get the records? They got the they used the glist thing. That's right. The bloody here get checked. So glist tends to make me think that gform will be there. Dot get is it unique ID? Does that work from gform?
Just unique value.
Get unique value. There we go. Gform.get unique value. We'll pop that back over here. And then table name equals, so that's a gform.get class. Is this class something? Get
shouldn't it? Well, maybe just get table or get table name.
Get table name. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. I think it. Yeah, probably it's just that simple.
Yeah, I like it. Gform get table name and backlog. I need to var that as well. People probably shouting at me. Var backlog definition ID equals get reference.
Oh, Andrew, you can drop your enhancement request for SN Utils now.
Oh yeah, Arnoud's here. Hey,
yeah.
I don't want to ask too much, but it would be nice to have user preferences available as a slash as well as like sysprops, maybe. I mean, you've done so much for me, and I don't want to push my luck, as we say. Oh, and then we're going to need a callback function. Oh. Yeah, I should really read the code before I try and run it, hey? Function callback. Oh, this is one of those fancy ones. Let's have a look over here. It's got the response, and yeah, this crap. Let me just copy that. All right, so let's just throw a gform. Yeah, Arnoud said create my own slash command. He's probably right. I should probably stop forcing my preferences on everyone. Let's say gform.add. Oh, what is it? Add alert. Add info message.
Info message or a warning message or error message.
Yeah, and we'll go response like that. All right. So I wonder if this has to be hoisted or not. Probably why it was above in the let's do that. And that way we should have callback. We'll have the backlog. They're all blue. Let's save that. And we'll jump back over to the incident and we will refresh. Come on, take your time. There we go. All right. Sorry, I keep forgetting that I'm sharing a Chrome tab with Mark, and I actually have to click a button to swap between tabs, and so he's sort of stuck looking at the last tab. All right, let's hit the button and see what happens. Look at that. Something.
Ooh.
There's nothing in the console, so that is good. I wonder if now we go to... Where is a backlog? Agile. Share this tab instead. Agile board. We've got 2 in the back. Look at that. It's worked. Awesome.
So hit the bell, ring, ding, ding,
yeah,
ding, ding, ding,
ding, ding.
and take a sip.
I don't have anything to drink. I said that at the beginning. Like, there's literally nothing around. Like, I can... Oh, there's some melted ice that I had in a drink from yesterday, but that's not a good idea. Nice. So we have something in our backlog, and if we click that, it's 10145. 10145. Awesome. And it's got the related story information. It's been added to the correct backlog. Cough, cough, cough. Let's not talk about user preferences. Is anything missing? Have I feel like that was almost too easy.
Yeah, well, we left out all of the error handling, of course. So
yeah. What could ever go wrong? Well, we're not doing the fancy, like, add multiple things and do it from a list view and all that stupid stuff that is, you know, important when you do it from a list view. So what am I going to do now? I think we need to add a condition, and I think the condition will be, does this record have a agile story? Because there's a related field. I want to say agile story. So if current dot agile story does not equal... What's the not null? Is it dot null? Would that check for empty?
no.
Missing name after operator. I just put
just
one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's true, falsy. Yeah.
Jace has just called out that our UI action has 2 functions and what should be between them. Jace is now between 2 functions. I'll pop that over there. Awesome. So fingers crossed, if the exclamation point works, we should be able to jump to this incident, which we have just created in our backlog, and refresh it. And the UI action is gone.
Okay.
So that solves that problem. We should probably check an incident that doesn't have...
Yeah, and if it does pop up, then
yeah. Where's another incident? Incident. Oh. Where's one that doesn't have a button? Here we go. It's there. Awesome. So that
okay. Yeah.
somewhat proves our point. what we should do next is maybe turn that HTML return into something useful. So this tab, this is where we're doing. So what we have done is we've called callback. We've added the info message, but the response is still a HTML element.
Yeah, that was the object HTML
Something
collection,
like
I
that.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we maybe do a toString and see what we actually get, that should work. Let's add some more stuff to my backlog. Andrew Barnes has just pointed out something that I think I knew in the back of my mind. There's an up and down arrow on incidents. Let me share this tab, and you can just like step between them. So for anyone who didn't realize, which is, I think most people, you can just like, oh, what's the next incident doing? And it will just drop you to the next one. Which is great when you're testing, actually. That's awesome. So, did I save this? Did I update it? Did I toString it? I did. Let me just resave, just in case. Refresh. Which should hopefully reload the on client action. We'll add it, and we'll see what we get. We still have an object HTML collection. How are we going to debug this? Let's have a look at object HTML collection. Should we JSON stringify it?
I'm not sure what the HTML collection is, but let's have a look.
Let's have a look here. JSON.stringify response. Save. And then we'll go and we'll hit our button. And we'll hit the button down here. Oh.
Okay.
So we've got an object called 0 with nothing else in it. Huh. I hope we don't have to copy this UI action. I hope we can use it. Let's go have a look at what it's returning. It just returns true? Or it sets attributes, status, backlog ID.
That looks odd.
So result attribute. So the result is like a HTML result. So maybe result.story IDs, which is the response elements by name result. Get rid of this and that and go story IDs. Story IDs. Yeah, okay. So we've updated that. We'll save this. Jace has made a good point. Maybe it's the info message that is stuffing stuff up. So if we console.log it, it could treat it better. Console.log resp And I won't include it with a string because sometimes that converts it into a string as well.
Yeah.
All right, so we will go back over here. We will pop to the next record. They have just mentioned in chat that the up and down does save the record as you move. So if you make any changes and then hit the button, it will save it even if you don't hit save. So just keep that in mind. Awesome. All right, pop the console out and I will hit the button and we'll see what happens. Record update incident. There's the HTML collection. We've got an undefined up here. There is... Can you see the console there, Mark?
No. Maybe on
On YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Backlog ID. Actually,
okay.
so outer HTML has some HTML stuff in it. How are we going to use that? I guess HTML, like that. This is a HTML collection result. So result dot outer HTML. Is there anything else in here that we can use? It doesn't seem like it. Jay says it will be the same data in the HTML stuff. Attributes. There it is. Yeah, actually, just let me a second. Let me try and change how I'm presenting this for Mark. A window. Is that better, Mark?
Now I have to zoom in a bit less, so that's
okay,
good.
Nice. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so there is an attributes field here in the console with some nodes here. So we've got a status of success. So maybe we could check that if we wanted to actually do some error checking. And then we've got story IDs here, which has a node value of the actual sysid of the story that was generated, and a total count, which will generally be 1 because we are using that. Result.get attribute backlog ID. Yeah, okay, someone in the chat, I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name. Yeah, I can't pronounce that at all. Has just suggested result.get attribute open brackets backlog. Like, we're probably going to get the story ID so we can make a URL to it rather than the backlog ID. That was the other one. Here we go. All right, so let's try. Oh, is that POC? Nice. Hello, POC. Poke. Again, I apologize for absolutely butchering any names. I even won't say Mark's surname on air. All right. So we've got resp.get attribute. What was it? Story IDs. Let me just redouble check. Story IDs, node value, that is it there. Let's save again. More like poke. Okay, I can do that. You would have had fun back in the Facebook days. All right, let's try another incident, another button. Let's hit it. Add to my latest backlog. Da, 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 da. Come on, buddy. Did I not hit it? Nope. Have I completely broken it? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Get attribute is not a function. I wonder if it needs to be on the response and not on the resp. Get element by tag name. Get. Let's get rid of that. Actually, I might just comment this whole thing out. It should be on resp. Okay. Poker said it should be on rest, but it doesn't seem to be working. Because it said that... Oh, it's because it's an... Is it because it's an info message? Let's throw this up here. Story ID. Okay, let's try that. We'll see if that works. Poker said it's because the node name is result, which is fine. That's the node that we've looked up with the get elements by tag name. And then resp.get attribute, because we logged that to the console.
So did you also update the console log statement?
No, I didn't. Was that a choice? I don't know. Sorry, I just moved my window by mistake. Fix that up here. Yeah, it is an out-of-the-box script include poke, so I don't want to screw around with it if possible. Andrew Barnes wants me to touch it. I don't want to touch it. Did we hit the button? No, I refresh this. Let's go hit the button. No, I must have already created that one. If only there was a handy single click to move to the next incident. Resp.getAttribute is not a function. There is still an issue there. Oh, you know why? It's because it's sending stuff. JSON.parse and get back the exact object on client side. Rather than do your... Yeah, okay. Let's try that, hey. JSON.parse result. No, response. And then we'll console.log the response JSON. JSON. I think we want to stringify. Do we want to stringify? What's the worst that can happen? Oh, we have to return JSON string from the script include. I really don't want to touch the script include. uh, let's see what else happens down here. We got a record update. Nothing else. Oh yeah, it's empty. All right. This is going to be. Oh, Jace has a good idea. Instead of getting the result element, which is this one, we should get the story IDs. Because that's all we want, isn't it? Let's try that. My backlog is going to be full of stories. All the work to do. Yeah, the payload that we're getting is XML or HTML or whatever. Obviously, that's why we have to parse that. Still getting a HTML collection with length 0. I wonder if we can use a console to help us with this. If we, like, is there any... get elements by name, Poke says. You need to select the first element. So, oh, I see. All right. So we want to turn this back into, was it result?
Result. Yeah.
And then we want to go resp first element dot get attributes. Does it get attributes? What attribute? And then
yeah.
Story IDs. var story equals console.log story. Let's try that. I appreciate the help, Poke. This would have been a very less interesting live. More interesting. Either way, more embarrassing. I'd probably just give up and go do something else, like play with UI Builder. Nobody wants to see us do that, do they? Here we go. Next. Yeah, the other thing to keep into account, people who are telling me to touch the out-of-the-box script include, is that I'm doing this for work, and our instance is ancient, and I do not want to touch things that I do not have to touch. Hey, look at that. We have a sys I would drink again, but again, I have nothing to drink. So a sys What are we going to do with a sys on client side? I really want to have a link to... Do I want to have a link to the story? I mean, it's just in the backlog. Are people expecting us to go from here back to page view of a story? I guess, like, it can't hurt to just throw a UI action... what is it? An info message with the URL. So are there any other attributes? Where's this up? This one here. Yeah. Okay. So reference the out of the box UI action. It does a nice link. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, look at that. Backlog page links. So am I just going to link back to the backlog, or should I link to the story itself? Because there's only going to be one. So there's that. That's the only link. Yeah. Andrew Barnes reckons we link to the backlog. You can't do a client-side glide record. Yeah, they're ordered lists, but they're ordered backwards. The latest stuff added to a backlog is at the very bottom, and it's a pain in the
Mm.
behind,
Yeah.
I think. Most of the time, I like to have my newest stuff at the top of a list. And backlogs are a bit weird like that, because you can't sort them. Like if I reload this, can you add a sort in a backlog definition? I mean, that's not going to help people who are in a team and the team doesn't want it that way. Also, where are all these stories that I've been adding to the backlog?
What? Because the first one was added, right? Because that was the 145. Yeah, that was the first test that we did.
Yeah, and then the second test, and then I've been testing all of these other things, and they're not. Why are they not in my backlog? Let's have a look at our list of stories. Close the tab. Holy, can I do a hard refresh? Um, here are all my stories here. So they've been created. 101. Brad's joking. He is telling us to close
Yeah.
a tab because it happened one time. What is the backlog definition? Type is story, active is true, sprint is empty, and assignment group is K20 hackathon. Yeah, I thought it was working before as well, Jace. And it's just all the stuff that we've been adding recently hasn't appeared. Is it because they don't have assignment groups? No, they do. Look at them.
Yeah.
Didn't set the AG. No, it's there. Task type is story, active is true, sprint is empty, sprint
Yeah,
is
I'll
empty.
just open one of the new stories and we'll have a look at the XML or something.
Did it set sprints? No, there's nothing there.
It looks empty.
That's really odd. I only have the one backlog. If it didn't have a backlog thingy, it wouldn't. That is interesting. I don't know if we're going to have time to debug this. It's hitting up 8:30 already. All right. Well, what are we going to do? I reckon we call it there and maybe earmark this for a future episode of Fake Live Code Happy Hour, where the normal Live Code Happy Hour people are hanging around drinking in the comments. It's like a complete role reversal, isn't it? Are they active?
Yeah, just have a look at the XML, then we
yeah,
can have a look.
This is a story. Show
Because
XML.
then you know for sure.
You can't see that, can you?
No.
Okay. Active is true. Assignment group is the right assignment group. Backlog definition is, it seems to be the right backlog. Is this one of the ones that isn't showing up? Or is this one of the ones that is showing up? I don't know. It's very weird. Like, they are definitely active. They've all got the K20 backlog. Duration, yeah. I don't know. That's odd. Maybe I found a bug or something. It happens sometimes. But yeah, let's leave it there. I'll kill the share. Move this back to... Hey, we can see each other now. So, I had fun. People in the chat seem to have fun. Did you have fun, Mark?
Yeah, and the first bit was a success immediately, then a little bit of struggle. But so how did Andrew and Brad actually experience being in the audience?
Yeah, what was it like, guys? I know it's always fun running this stuff. I've done a couple streams before, but Mark Scott missed the struggling, which is unfortunate, isn't it? So unfortunate. Or are you referring to us trying to parse that HTML object? But anyway, Andrew Barnes said it's so much fun with somebody else making the mistakes. That is the fun, isn't it? Yeah, no, I had a really good time. Thanks a lot. I hope everyone appreciated actually having a live coding happy hour at the right live coding happy hour time, as opposed to some other random time that's like 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. or 15 minutes earlier on some other day. Oh, Mark just got back in his chair. That's a shame. We're wrapping up. I'm sorry, Mark. It was good to have everyone here. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to smash the like and subscribe if you are that way inclined. I'm not going to force anyone to do it, but I had to say it because one of my colleagues gave me some crap about having a YouTube channel. So anyway. All right, I'm going to jump back to my awesome unofficial welcome screen, which is this one. Everybody loves the unofficial live code happy hour stream, and I even made the mugs dance if you missed the beginning. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Mark, for hanging around.
Yeah, no worries.
We are still here. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.